Hello, my name is Dr. Stephen Mulholland. I'm president and founder of Spa Medica. For over 25 years, we've been providing best in quality aesthetic services in the Greater Toronto area. Here in our Yorkville location, we have been doing hair transplantation for 20 years. Not the kind of hair transplantation you might think with a scar at the back called strip grafting. I've helped pioneer since the late 90s a non-linear scar technique called follicular unit extraction transplantation. With FUE, or follicular unit extraction, we look at your donor site at the back of your skull here, right in the, called the occiput. Everybody keeps that hair. You might lose all the rest of your hair, but that hair at the back and at the sides, that George Costanza zone, that Friar Tuck zone, that's our donor site. And we can steal, over the number of sessions you may require, depending on your thinning, we can steal 12,000 grafts out of that area and still leave it looking natural. We do this by shaving the hair down to a stubble. We have these automated and robotic rotatory punches. Each punch is 0.9 millimeters. They rotate in, zoop, zoop, and we take one hair at a time. We take 3,000 hairs at a session. And then we turn around, we look at the recipient area where you're going thin, we put local anesthesia, we make tiny little needle-based slits, and we implant each of those individually harvested hairs one at a time. When you're healed, no scar, no evidence that we were there, and because we've done thousands of FUE transplants, a very natural looking hairline and density, you wouldn't even tell that you'd had a transplant. Are there different types of hair transplantation, hair restoration services? Absolutely. So we have non-surgical service here at Spa Medica, where we take plasma-rich platelets, or nano fat grafting, or microneedling, or low-level light laser therapy, and we can do non-invasive treatments on your scalp to help stimulate those dormant hair follicles to grow. That's often most helpful in certain types of male pattern hair loss, where we don't want you to lose more hair from the shock of surgery, and for female pattern hair loss, the stem cell growth cell factor injections can work in selected patients. There are also other surgical techniques for hair restoration, like strip grafting, where a chunk of scalp is taken out of the back and then stapled closed. We do not offer that at Spa Medica. We have focused exclusively as the market leader in Canada on high-tech follicular unit extraction transplantation. No scar, beautiful natural hair, and happy patients. The best candidates for FUE, neograft, and artist hair restoration are those patients, male and female, that have experienced significant hair loss. This hair loss is not from a pathological process. This hair loss is not from a treatable medical condition. These patients are typically medically well. They've thought about the risks and the benefits, and they decided they want to bring natural hair back to where they've lost it, typically steal from the back and bring it to the front. They're realistic, and they understand that hair loss is sometimes an ongoing phenomenon. So every few years you may have to add some more hair if you've lost more hair. So it's a commitment to a long-term vision for beautiful, thick, rich, luxurious, natural transplanted hair. Hair transplantation, particularly with the non-strip technique like our FUE, artist, and neograft, one of the lowest recovery technologies and lowest morbidity treatments that I offer. It's done in a single day under local anesthesia, a couple of happy pills and some sedation. It takes 2 or 3 hours to harvest from the back, separate all the hairs and count them and their viability. There's no stitching at the back because all those little holes heal over in 24 hours. We flip over, you're watching some Netflix, and we implant the hairs over the next 3 or 4 hours. So it's a one-day procedure, typically about 8-hour day for 3,000 follicular unit extraction transplants. And you're going to leave the facility with a little wrap. You're going to come back the next day, we take the wrap off, and then you allow your hair to grow out. By 2 weeks, you can't even see the donor site. The stubble is growing out. You can't even see the 0.9 millimeter holes. The hairs on the top go through a crusty phase where the crusts come off by 2 weeks, and then the hair starts to grow. And typically you start to see stubble by about 6 to 12 weeks, and by 1 year, 12 to 18 months, you've got long, luxurious hair, and you can enjoy the fruits of your transplantation and no one's going to be the wiser because you have no scar at the back of your head. Thousands of patients have chosen Spa Medica for their ARTIS and NeoGraft FUE transplantation because we are by far the most experienced FUE center in the country. We have the best technicians and the best technology. We get the best results. And so when selecting your hair center, select on the basis of experience, on the basis of the ability to inspire confidence in a natural hair design for your face. And proof is in the pudding. Look at some before and afters. Look at the legacy of great outcomes. And you'll find that Spa Medica is Canada's leader in FUE, NeoGraft and ARTIS hair transplantation. I've been doing FUE hair transplantation for over 20 years, and during that time I've done many television shows helping to educate and engage male and female hair restoration and transplant patients on what it involves and what it does and the benefits. So let's take a look at some of those TV shows.
Full head of hair in everyone's future? A revolutionary transplant process offers new hope.
It's definitely put a little extra zip in my step.
No scarring, fast and pain-free. We comb through the claims.
The News Hour tomorrow.
Thinning, bald, is that what's happening to your hair? I'm Mina Ree, coming up on News Hour. Breakthrough technology that allows hair transplantation. No scalpel, no scars.
Just ahead, a new transplant procedure is helping people obtain a fuller head of hair, one hair at a time. We'll show you how this new treatment is different from the others in just 90 seconds.
Welcome back. Hair loss is a problem for both men and women. For some, the solution has been a hair transplant. However, they are expensive and they can leave bad scars.
But a new type of hair transplant is changing all that, one hair at a time. Mina Ree has more, but first a warning, some of the video is graphic.
Very excited about round two.
Not many patients walk into the OR with a smile on their faces, but Scott Waring knows the hair transplant procedure he's about to undergo will be pretty much pain-free. Surgeons call the NeoGraft a game changer, the newest device in the war against hair loss. One at a time, hair follicles are sucked out into a reservoir.
It's very much like reforestation. We're taking little seedlings from the back and uprooting them from their roots one at a time rather than doing strip logging.
In the past, you would only take hair from the back of your head because of the large scar that would result. But with this technology, technically you could take hair from your back, the chest, virtually any part of the body, and then inject it back on the top of your head.
That big cut at the back was stitched or stapled together, and that left a scar that often spread because it was under tension, so it would be wide.
Local anesthesia is injected before tiny holes are poked into thinning areas.
And then press the foot pedal, and the little piston pushes it in.
The living follicles take root and grow back as healthy new hair.
And you can color it and cut it and swim, ride horses. I can't wait.
This will scab off.
That'll scab off. That's where we put it. Where you take it, you can't see that within 24 to 40 hours, so it's invisible.
The absence of scalpels and staples means no unsightly scar with the NeoGraft, which will make hair transplantation a more viable option for females.
What does that feel like?
I can't really feel anything. It feels maybe like somebody putting a felt tip marker.
Price is comparable to other methods, ranging from $5,000 to $10,000 to restore an area like this. But since the NeoGraft can be done in stages, it offers patients flexibility depending on their budgets.
Especially after, 4 years of cancer treatment, it's definitely put a little extra zip in my step.
Mina Ree, Global News.
Good morning. We are back at Spa Medica with Dr. Stephen Mulholland, and this is very interesting. We've just been chatting off camera. We're doing non-surgical medical procedures this morning, and we're doing hair transplantation right now. And I am finding this fascinating because we did a show before and they actually take a strip of skin from the hair and then they transplant it into the head. But you say that you're not doing this. What is this called?
Well, strip grafting was very common before. You take a great big cut out of the back of your scalp and then you cut all the hairs up into little hairs and put them in the front. This is the blessed area. Now we do what's called NeoGraft.
The blessed area, because this is where all the hair is.
And it never goes away. So we take this little device, it's called the NeoGraft hair transplant system, and we go into the hair
and we take a little piece and we suck that hair up into the cylinder. So now I've got a hair living in the cylinder.
Oh, there it is.
I do that about 500 times. Now, our Dylan, our patient, has short hair today. Normally, very long hair will cover over that area where we take it. These little tiny holes, hold this, Dylan, for me, they heal on their own. There's no scar, no cutting, no stitches. Then what we do, once we've taken the hair, we take our little transplanted hairs. These are the ones that came from the back. We didn't have to make any cuts to get them. We harvested them one hair at a time, like reforestation, taking little seedlings, but no strip logging. We take these little guys, and here is a little family of 3 hairs that live together.
Aw, it's a little family. It's
And
like making babies.
if you look at the
here.
back of Dylan's hair, Dylan had bald patch at the back.
Yeah, he's already had a treatment.
He's had one treatment, and again with nice growth. And we take this little hair, and we simply insert it down into the little slit that I made. And as you can tell, I do not ever shave the areas where we're putting it. So we don't shave where we're putting it, and we insert it into its little home. Voila.
Wow.
Now we do that 1,000 times. So it takes 3 or 4 hours. There is no cut at the back. You can go out immediately with your hair covering the little holes that we harvested from, and no one's going to see the front because you've got hair covering it. Now about 60% of women over 50 years over 50 have thinning, like a pie-shaped wedge at the
Women
front.
can get it too.
Absolutely.
Okay, you know what? Very
Absolutely.
quickly, because we've got to go back to the station. First of all, how many treatments will somebody like, it's Dylan, right?
Yeah, Dylan. You could do 2,000 little hair family sessions and you're done, or you can break over 3 or 4 smaller ones.
Okay, and how much is it going to cost roughly?
All told, hair transplantation between $4,000 and $8,000, depending on how many hairs you need.
Wow, this is so cool. Thank you, Dr. Stephen Mulholland. Back to the station. Well, you know, hair is a big thing, though. Loss of hair on men and women.
Yes.
So this is a really big thing. So I'm all for that. You know, you want to replace that hair, go for it, you know, whether it's on your head or on your face. So these are new treatments that are being done. So come on in. Now, Dr. Mulholland, my daughter recently turned 14, and last year she started plucking her eyebrows. So I showed her how to do it, and I said, do not pluck too much because the hair might not grow back. This is true. So you don't want to pluck the eyebrows too thin, because when women do this,
Sometimes the follicle doesn't survive repeated plucking, and it can be at a very young age. You can have maybe hyperthyroidism or diabetes as concomitant morbidities, but most women who overpluck their eyebrows and present to, let's say, my Center for Eyebrow Transplantation did so because they just did it too aggressively. It never grows back, and they end up painting their eyebrows. Now we can apply the same techniques used for the top of the head in men and women for beard transplantation, mustache, eyelash, and eyebrow.
so we're doing this procedure right now with Stephanie.
We're
So
doing
what's
it live.
going on?
So what happened? Stephanie had hyperthyroidism and overplucked. She overplucked. The hair didn't grow back even though she's young. And so we used the Artist robot to have a rotatory harvest. There's no scar. We harvest one at a time. And once we've done the harvest, we end up with a bunch of tiny little hairs that are ready for implantation.
These are from her head.
These are from her scalp. Now the beautiful thing about this, these are less than 0.6 millimeter holes, the harvest site. So within a week you can't find where the hairs came from. So it truly is a scarless donor site. Wow. And so men can shave, if we're doing a beard and a mustache, they can go Vin Diesel and there are no scars anymore.
Some men can't grow beards.
They can't, and we do men's beards and mustaches. Most commonly women are brows and eyelashes,
Right.
and brows from overplucking. So once we've got the hairs, we simply make these bloodless little donor sites.
And if you're a little bit squeamish, you might want to turn your head. I want to do as a disclaimer, but
It's kind of elegant.
it's elegant. I think so too.
If you like repotting plants, that's what we're doing here.
Frankie Flowers would love this.
He would love it. And so we take those tiny little guys. We made our little donor site recipients, and we put the donor hair into the recipient and repot
I love
them.
it. But just to be aware, the hair is from your head, so it
Yes.
does grow longer. So when you get it done on your eyebrows, you still have to trim them because it's like the hair on your head, even your eyelashes. So great things happening here at Spa Medica with Dr. Stephen Mulholland. All the information on breakfasttelevision.ca. Thanks for a great morning and enlightening us. Lightning us. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys.
Take care. Time to
to say goodbye to skinny brows for good.
A fuller eyebrow is definitely on trend these days, but getting that natural look isn't always easy.
So we find out how some stars get the perfect arch, even if they aren't born with it.
And a warning to some viewers, there's some hair-raising footage ahead.
Bold brows are absolutely back. That natural look that you see in celebrities like Cara Delevingne, for example, are actually serving to frame your eyes, just like your hairline can frame your face.
Yes, Sofia Vergara, Lily Collins, Emilia Clarke all proudly rock a fuller brow. But even if your brows aren't quite so bold, there's a new option on the table.
Brow transplants have become very, very popular. The most common cause as to why we see brow thinning in this day and age is just overplucking, and overzealous plucking was really the trend in the 90s, and that's something that we're trying to reverse now with eyebrow transplantation.
Yes, if you're done looking like 90s Gwen Stefani, the solution is here.
We take a strip of hair from the back of the head. Those get divided underneath a microscope and then get transplanted one by one into the recipient site, versus the newer technique, FUE, where we take individual hole punches in the back of the head, essentially leaving no scar whatsoever, and then doing the transplant in the exact same way.
First up, pencil in perfectly.
From the corner of the mouth to the corner of the limbus, which is the peak itself of the eye. And then when we look at the lateral portion, we frame it from the nose to the corner of the eye, out towards the most lateral portion of the brow itself. What do you think? You happy with that? All right, great. So we'll get going.
Then a little freezing.
So I'm actually selecting the individual hair grafts. That was one hair that just got sucked up. So you can take a look at the little hairs. You see the bulbs on the transplant, so you can see how they're all single unit follicles. So we're now going at 90 degrees to the skin itself. We're making little pokes into the skin right before we place the hairs themselves.
And after hours of implanting the tiny hairs one by one, boom, brows on trend.